Well, surprise, surprise, we're discussing the ECB's upcoming rate decision. I'm joined by Reuters Breakingviews assistant editor Robert Cole. Robert, you're not actually writing anything pre-decision today.
We will write, though.
What are you going to write after?
Well, it's going to depend on what happens. I think there is a small chance there could be a change in the interest rates. But I don't think that's where the main focus is going to be. I think there'd be a pretty big surprise if there was a surprise cut in rates. I think what the focus of this is going to be is on this bond buying plan that they've been talking about for some months now. And I mean, clearly the ECB has bought bonds before, but this is a kind of new kind of initiative. I mean, I think two sort of things we need to sort straight away. There's some talk this morning about how the ECB won't set a rate cap. I mean, it would be utterly madness to sort of let the markets know that there is a cap which they can go for and try and break. So forget all about that. What really is interesting is the conditions and the circumstances around how this new sort of phase of bond buying might work, and that is what we'll want to comment on.
Yep. And already,
if we get some substantial news, and well, I think the hope is that we'll get chapter and verse. I think we might get some sort of heads of agreement.
I mean, I guess the question is, and this has been the question since reports came out yesterday, you know, just how much detail we will get today, and whether the markets will be satisfied with that detail.
Yeah, I fear for the markets, and it's a kind of really quite, or I fear for the market reaction, is what I mean, and I'm fearful that the market is hoping for much more than it is likely to get. That's not to criticise the ECB. Actually, I have this feeling that the ECB is playing a pretty clever game, which is essentially saying, look, we will do whatever it takes to keep the euro together. We will do whatever is needed to keep the eurozone economies chugging along. But actually, you know what? Things are bad, but they're still not way bad enough for us to go doing some really, really big things, as we are now envisaging. And of course, it's quite clever as well, because these conditions that might attach to this bond buying might mean that Spain, say, doesn't want to apply, doesn't want to ask the ECB to buy its bonds. That might mean that Spain actually has a greater incentive to sort its own life out. So I think long term, I like the way that the ECB is acting. I think we do in Breakingviews as well. And I think that can be very encouraging. We also think, I certainly also think, that the markets should be encouraged by the way that the ECB is behaving, but my fear is they won't be.
How much is Draghi's reputation and his credibility at stake based on what he does today?
Well, I think that's one of the the key things that we're going to find out, or one of the other key things that we're going to find out today, because so much of this debate that I've been trying to sort of analyse here depends on how much credibility Draghi has. And the markets, you know, if they don't see Draghi sort of piling in and giving some rescue measures, and the markets sort of taking things away, marking stuff down, that might fulfill a very nasty, vicious circle, which will also mean that actually doesn't really believe what Draghi is saying, or that Draghi has the power that, in a sense, they hope he does have.
Yep.
You know, so I think it's quite important to think of the sentiment and the psychology of this, as well as actually what happens.
OK, Robert, we will wait and see. Robert Cole with Breakingviews. For more agenda setting insight, watch our US Breakingviews show every day, 12:30 Eastern, 17:30 BST. I'm Axel Threlfall. This is Reuters.